In a world where I don't forget what I'm saying and have to keep pausing to look back at my script. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Just Another Struggling Writer, the beleaguered author's one-stop shop for commiseration and, hopefully, inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. Today I'll be unveiling my August TBR. It's a pretty ambitious slate with 6 books, a number I usually don't hit in 1 month, but I'm sort of cheating a little bit since I've already started 2 of them, so I'm hoping to get through them all. The way I formulated this TBR was I chose 2 physical books, 2 ebooks, and 2 audiobooks. The reason for that is, as most of you know, each format provides a radically different reading experience and fits into my life in different ways. For example, I like to read physical books when I'm at home in my bed, and that way I can also annotate them, something that I just started doing and I'm really enjoying. Ebooks, on the other hand, are more convenient. I can do it when I'm on my lunch break at work or when I'm at my daughter's music lessons. So those are the most convenient. I can just pull it up on my phone and go from there. Audiobooks, on the other hand, are the most foreign to me. I'm not a big audio reader because I have auditory processing issues. It actually takes me longer to process what I'm hearing. So when I'm listening to an ebook or an audiobook, I actually have to concentrate more than when I'm reading words on the page. So I'm not a big audiobook person, but that being said, I do still have a pretty lengthy commute that I tend to get my audiobook reading in on. So without further ado, let's get right into the list. First up for the physical books we have Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. This is her adult fantasy debut and the third of her Shakespearean retellings, this one covering Antony and Cleopatra. This story is told from the perspective of 3 main characters, 2 of whom have applied and been accepted into the kingdom's annual deadly games. During these games, they are required to hunt down the other contestants to the death with the hopes of winning fabulous riches at the end. The third character is pulling strings from behind the scenes. As you can see, this is one of the books I've already started reading. I'm about 25% of the way in, and this is actually the first time I've started annotating a book while I was reading it for the first time, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It's been really fun to just kind of flag which lines really speak to me, which ones confuse me, and which ones really, really make me hate what's going on. And it's always a good thing to feel something when you're reading, so I'm having a really good time. For the first of my ebook selections, I have the other book that I'm cheating on. I started this book back in June and got about 30% of the way through before putting it down just because I just wasn't feeling it at the moment, and that is Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is a hugely popular book in the genre, and one I don't feel like I can skip out on, even though the premise doesn't really draw me in. This story is set in a world where certain individuals have the ability to tap into the powers of jade, a substance known to enhance the wearer's abilities, such as super speed and strength and enhanced perception. And in this world, the distribution and sale of jade is tightly controlled primarily by 2 crime families who have enjoyed kind of an unsteady peace over the last several years, but that is all about to come tumbling down. Again, this one isn't really my speed. I've never really been into the mafia style story, but like I said, I just don't feel like I can rightfully call myself a fan of the fantasy genre if I don't at least read the first one. For the first of my audiobook selections, we have The House of Salt and Sorrows by Aaron A. Craig. This is a young adult fantasy horror retelling of the classic fairy tale, The 12 Dancing Princesses. In this story, we follow a young woman named Anna Lee who lives in a seaside manor with her father, stepmother, and 11 sisters. However, lately her sisters have begun to die off, and it is up to Anna Lee to uncover the mystery of what is going on. For the second of my physical reads, I have The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty. This story follows a formerly retired pirate queen who has just been roped back into the game for one last adventure. However, the deeper she goes, the more she realizes there's more than meets the eye to this job. This one has actually been on my TBR for a while. I love a good pirate story, and I love Middle Eastern inspired fantasy as well, so I'm really excited to get into this one. I also love the fact that the main character is a older woman who has come and gone with the prime of her life, and she's had kids and she's been retired and now she's coming back to it. We don't see that too often with female characters. We get it sometimes with men, but not a lot with women, so I'm really excited to see what this one has in store for me. For the second of my ebook reads, I have chosen The Kingless Crown by Sarah M. Craddock. This story is a young adult high fantasy about a young king who has come into his crown through murder and is now enforcing 20-year-old marriage treaties and demanding the eldest daughter from each of the 4 most powerful noble families. However, the daughters have since disappeared, and their absence threatens the safety and peace of everyone in the realm. I usually don't read YA. It's kind of weird that I have 2 YA books on my TBR this month, but I've been wanting to read House of Salt and Sorrows for a while. It's been on my list and I've heard really good things about it. And I don't know how I came into possession of The Kingless Crown, but it was in my ebook library, and a couple weeks ago when looking for my next ebook read, I used a random number generator and that was what I came up with, so I'm going to stick with that. And lastly, with my second and final audiobook read for the month, we have The Court of Mortals by A.J. Lancaster. This book is the 3rd installment of a cozy fantasy romance quartet about a young woman named Hedda Valstar, who has unexpectedly come into an inheritance of her family's magical and partially sentient estate. Lately, her inheritance has come under siege by fairies of all things, thanks to her butler turned lover and former Fey Prince himself, Wynn. Now, Hedda and Wynn must deal with the fallout of the second installment's tumultuous ending. I really enjoyed the first entry in this series, The Lord of Stariel. It was exactly what I needed at the time. It was super cozy, super low stakes, had a good romance that I was compelled by. The second one I didn't love quite as much, but I am determined to finish the series with this 3rd one and eventually the 4th one. And that is everything on my August TBR pile so far. I do have a book club that I just joined. We have yet to settle on the book we're going to read. So if that gets, decided before the end of the month, I'll obviously be reading that one. But other than that, I've got a pretty ambitious stack ahead of me. If you've read any of the books on my TBR, I'd love to hear your thoughts on them in the comments. I'm also taking suggestions for what should be on my September TBR. I've got a vacation at the beginning of the month, and I'm hoping to get a lot of reading done. Until then, leave your comments and questions down below, and as always, like and subscribe. Until next time, bye!